of you, Tom, and we appreciate it, don't we, Minnie? It is such a surprise, too, for James said that, while I should find everything very comfortable, I must not expect that a small yacht would be got up like a palace." So a fortnight had passed. They had cruised along the coast as far as Plymouth, anchoring at night at the various ports on the way. Then they had returned to Southampton, and it had been settled that as none of the party, with the exception of Virtue himself, had been to the Channel Islands, the last fortnight of the trip should be spent there. The weather had been delightful, save that there had been some deficiency in wind, and throughout the cruise the Seabird had been under all the sail she could spread. But when the gentlemen came on deck early in the morning a considerable change had taken place. The sky was grey and the clouds flying fast overhead. "We're going to have dirty weather," Tom Virtue said at once. "I don't think it's going to be a gale, but there will be more sea than will be pleasant for the ladies. I tell you what, Grantham, the best thing will be for you to go on shore with the two ladies and cross by the boat tonight. If you don't mind going directly after breakfast, I'll start at once, and shall be at St. Helier's as soon as you are." And so it had been agreed, but not, as has been seen, without opposition and protest on the part of the ladies. Mrs. Grantham's chief reason for objecting had not been given. The little scheme on which she had set her mind seemed to be working satisfactorily. From the first day Tom Virtue had exerted himself to play the part of host satisfactorily, and had ere long shaken off any shyness he may have felt toward the one stranger of the party, and he and Miss Graham had speedily got on friendly terms. So things were going on as well as Mrs. Grantham could have expected. No sooner had his guests left the side of the yacht than her owner began to make his preparations for a start. "What do you think of the weather, Watkins?" he asked his skipper. "It's going to blow hard, sir, that's my view of it, and if I was you I shouldn't up anchor today. Still, it's just as you likes. The Seabird won't mind it if you don't. She's had a rough time of it before now. Still, it'll be a case of wet jackets, and no mistake." "Yes, I expect we shall have a rough time of it, Watkins, but I want to get across. We don't often let ourselves be weather bound, and I am not going to begin it today. We had better house the topmast at once, and get 2 reefs in the mainsail. We can get the other down when we get clear of the island. Get No. 3 jib up, and the leg of mutton mizzen. Put 2 reefs in the foresail." Tom and his friend Harvey, who was a good sailor, assisted the crew in reefing down the sails, and a few minutes after the gig had returned and been hoisted in, the yawl was running rapidly down Southampton waters. "We need hardly have reefed quite so closely," Jack Harvey said, as he puffed away at his pipe. "Not yet, Jack, but you'll see she has as much as she can carry before long. It's all the better to make all snug before starting. It saves a lot of trouble afterwards, and the extra canvas would not have made 10 minutes difference to us at the outside. We shall have pretty nearly a dead beat down the Solent. Fortunately the tide will be running strong with us, but there'll be a nasty kick up there. You'll see we shall feel the short choppy seas there more than we shall when we get outside. She's a grand boat in a really heavy sea, but in short waves she puts her nose into it with a will. Now, if you'll take my advice, you'll do as I am going to do. Put on a pair of fisherman's boots, an oilskin and sou'wester. There are several sets for you to choose from below." As her owner had predicted, the Seabird put her bowsprit under pretty frequently in the Solent. The wind was blowing half a gale, and as it met the tide it knocked up a short angry sea, crested with white heads, and Jack Harvey agreed that she had quite as much sail on her as she wanted. The cabin doors were bolted and all made snug to prevent the water getting below before they got to the race off Hurst Castle, and it was well that they did so, for she was as much under water as she was above. "I think if I had given way to the ladies and brought them with us they would have changed their minds by this time, Jack," Tom Virtue said with a laugh. "I should think so," his friend agreed. "This is not a day for a fair weather sailor. Look what a sea is breaking on the shingles." "Yes, 5 minutes there would knock her into matchwood. Another 10 minutes and we shall be fairly out, and I shan't be sorry. One feels as if one was playing football, only just at present the Seabird is the ball and the waves the kickers." Another quarter of an hour and they had passed the Needles. "That is more pleasant, Jack," as the short chopping motion was exchanged for a regular rise and fall. "This is what I enjoy, a steady wind and a regular sea. The Seabird goes over it like one of her namesakes. She's not taking a teacupful now over her bows. Watkins, you may as well take the helm for a spell while we go down to lunch. I'm not sorry to give it up for a bit, for it's been jerking like the kick of a horse." "That's right, Jack. Hang up your oilskin there. Johnson, give us a couple of towels. We have pretty well smothered up there on deck. Now, what have you got for us?" "There's some soup ready, sir, and that cold pie you had for dinner yesterday." "That will do. Open a couple of bottles of stout." Lunch over, they went on deck again. "She likes a good blow as well as we do," Virtue said enthusiastically, as the yawl rose lightly over each wave. "What do you think of it, Watkins? Is the wind going to lull a bit as the sun goes down?" "I think not, sir. It seems to me it's blowing harder than it was." "Then we will prepare for the worst, Watkins. Get the trysail up on deck. When you're ready we'll bring her up into the wind and set it. That's the comfort of a yawl, Jack. One can always lie to without any bother, and one hasn't got such a tremendous boom to handle." The trysail was soon on deck, and then the Seabird was brought up into the wind, the weather foresheet hauled aft, the mizzen sheeted almost fore and aft, and the Seabird lay head to wind, rising and falling with a gentle motion, in strong contrast to her impetuous rushes when under sail. "She would ride out anything like this," her owner said. "Last time we came through the bay on our way from Gibraltar we were caught in a gale strong enough to blow the hair off one's head, and we lay to for nearly 3 days and didn't ship a bucket of water all the time. Now let us lend a hand to get the mainsail stowed." 10 minutes' work and it was securely fastened and its cover on. 2 reefs were put in the trysail. 2 hands went to each of the halyards, while, as the sail rose, Tom Virtue fastened the toggles round the mast. "All ready, Watkins?" "All ready, sir." "Slack off the weather foresheet, then, and haul aft the leeward. Slack off the mizzen sheet a little, Jack. That's it. Now she's off again like a duck." The Seabird felt the relief from the pressure of the heavy boom to leeward, and rose easily and lightly over the waves. "She certainly is a splendid seaboat, Tom. I don't wonder you're ready to go anywhere in her. I thought we were rather fools for starting this morning, although I enjoy a good blow, but now I don't care how hard it comes on." Well, by night it was blowing a downright gale. "We will lie to till morning, Watkins, so that we get in by daylight tomorrow evening. That's all we want. See, our side lights are burning well, and you had better get up a couple of blue lights in case anything comes running up channel and don't see our lights. We'd better divide into 2 watches. I'll keep one with Matthews and Dawson. Mr. Harvey will go in your watch with Nichols. We had better get the trysail down altogether, and lie to under the foresail and mizzen, but don't put many lashings on the trysail. 1 will be enough, and have it ready to cast off in a moment in case we want to hoist the sail in a hurry. I'll go down and have a glass of hot grog first, and then I'll take my watch to begin with. Let the 2 hands with me go down. The steward will serve them out a tot each. Jack, you had better turn in at once." Virtue was soon on deck again, muffled up in his oilskins. "Now, Watkins, you can go below and turn in." "I shan't go below tonight, sir, not to lie down. There's nothing much to do here, but I couldn't sleep if I did lie down." "Very well, you had better go below and get a glass of grog. Tell the steward to give you a big pipe with a cover like this out of the lock-up, and there's plenty of chewing tobacco if the men are short." "I'll take that instead of a pipe," Watkins said. "There's nothing like a quid in weather like this. It ain't never in your way, and it lasts. Even with a cover, a pipe would soon be out." "Please yourself, Watkins. Tell the other 2 hands forward to keep a bright lookout for lights." The night passed slowly. Occasionally a sea heavier than usual came on board, curling over the bow and falling with a heavy thud on the deck, but for the most part the Seabird breasted the waves easily. The bowsprit had been reefed in to its fullest, thereby adding to the lightness and buoyancy of the boat. Tom Virtue did not go below when his friend came up to relieve him at the change of watch, but sat smoking and doing much talking in the short intervals between the gusts. The morning broke grey and misty. Driving sleet came along on the wind, and the horizon was closed in as by a dull curtain. "How far can we see, do you think, Watkins?" "Perhaps a couple of miles, sir." "Well, that will be enough. I think we both know the position of every reef to within 100 yards, so we'll shape our course for Guernsey, If we happen to hit it off, we can